Okay. All right. So welcome everybody to the the Automation Studio Bootcamp. We are in our hands-on session number 4, building out some cool SQL queries. We've got our guest builder today, Santiago. So just wanted to cover the upcoming sessions for the Automation Studio Bootcamp. We've got our last fundamental sessions tomorrow, where we're going to be talking about the enhancing the contact data model in Automation Studio. And we have one more hands-on session for the rest of the year, which is next Wednesday. We're going to be doing some importing and exporting based on the session that we had in fundamentals yesterday. So let's talk about what we're going to be continuing on today. Again, we're going to be covering sort of like the fundamentals of SQL in those, the 3 main areas: the select, from, and where clause. So using, I think in our last session, we did a couple of joins, or we did a join. We're going to do an additional join for deduping. We're going to use the count, the max function in the select statement. We also use the case statement, group by. I think last session we used get date, date add. So we'll sort of refresh on the functions that we did last time, and then explore a couple of additional functions, and come back to this slide. This is going to be our sort of guide to the different joins that we're going to be adding today. We've got an additional join we're going to be working on, so we'll use this as our sort of template. And then let's talk about the use cases that we had started building last week, and which we're going to continue on this week. So our first scenario is a lead nurture journey, where we want to pull in leads into a journey and send them sort of a hot lead notification, or keep them sort of interested in our products while sales reaches out to them. So I think we built that structure last time. We'll have Santiago give us a tour of the current query that we built. And then we want to do a couple extra bonuses. We wanted to prevent those leads from entering in that journey twice. So we're going to do an additional join to prevent that. And then our extra bonus, we want to populate a new super hot lead field using the case statement and the select statement. So we'll do that as well. And then our second use case is to use engagement reporting. So we're going to want to view engagement across subscribers. Then we'll try to focus on clicks, in particular using the click and maybe the job data view. And then we're going to want to get a count of those clicks on those individual emails, so that we can do some sort of report that says, these are the emails that receive the top amount of clicks. So we've got our hands-on builder today, Santiago. So Santiago, if you would like to give a little bit of background of your experience in marketing, cloud, and or Salesforce.
Okay, morning everyone. I'm Santiago from Argentina. I have been working in Salesforce for over 2.5 years. I have been working in Sales Cloud at the first time, and then I made a transition to Marketing Cloud because I really enjoy to do content as email templates. I have skills in HTML, CSS, and AMP and I really enjoy to do SQL too. And I am learning SQL and AMP. We have a community. It's called AMP Academy. It's free and it's fun. So I am continue learning there. So nice to meet you, everyone.
Fantastic, Santiago. Excellent. So we're going to have you share your screen in a second. I just wanted to share one thing related to what we're going to be working with. So I created 2 leads for Santiago in our CRM environment, which he's going to be pulling into Marketing Cloud. So we've got a warm lead and a hot lead. These were created within the last 24 hours. So we're going to use the query to do that. And both of these leads have a predictive score of hot. but only one of these accounts has an account score that is tier 1 hot, which is going to determine that super hot ranking. So I believe this Cervelo account, we go into this Cervelo account, we'll pull up this ABM tier, right? This tier 1 hot ABM is that combination. So for that lead, we're going to want to flag them as a super hot lead because they have a hot lead ranking on their lead itself, and also the count is hot as well. The warm lead that Santiago has, we've created for Santiago, it has a warm ABM tier ranking, so that wouldn't qualify. Just wanted to show the data that we should be able to sync in. And let me stop sharing. And then Santiago, if you want to share, we'll we want to grab that query that I dropped into the chat, and we will start from there and get the data, if we can get the data outputting and looking a little better.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Looks good. And you're already in Query Studio, which is awesome. For those who haven't used Query Studio before, it's a free application in Salesforce. Definitely worth installing in your environment. Gives you the ability to play with your data without creating data extensions and queries. So Santiago, do you want to take the query that's in the chat and paste that into the Query Studio? Perfect. And then let's just change that. Instead of day -30, let's just change that to -1 on that on the where clause on line 12.
Yeah.
It's got a -30. Can you change that to a -1? In the date add. So if you see that, there you go. If you want to change that just
Only
to a
one day?
-1. Yep, perfect. And then we'll hit run on this. Yep. So what this is doing is that sales lead is not on this. Oh, okay, hold on a second. Oh, let's copy this query. If you just want to copy it, I just need to have you move to a different business unit. Let me just make sure that you have access to the parent business unit, which might be the problem. Let me just check your setup. So if you, if you go to the upper right-hand corner see where it says Web Personalization POC, and yep, and then yep, if you click on Cervelo Partner Main, that should have all the synchronized data in there. And then we're just going to have you paste in that query one more time. And double check your user. You should be able to. That's the one thing about Query Studio. It does not save your queries for you. So it's always good to sort of save your queries in a notepad. Yeah, we'll paste that in and change it to that one and try running it again. Yep, you have access to the partner main. Okay, you should be good. So yeah, so if we go back to the Query Studio.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll just paste in that query and then change it to 1.
It's very slow.
-1.
Okay. Okay. Only
Perfect.
one
And
day
let's change
ago,
that to
right?
-1. Perfect. And let's hit run. Okay, so what this is doing is we're pulling from the, okay, so why we use join instead of an inner join? That's a great question. So inner join and join are basically the same. It's just that you don't have to actually put an inner if you don't want to. So it's your call on how you want to do it. Some people like putting in the inner. It's basically the same thing as default join. So we're taking the lead synchronized date extensions, we're joining it to the account, and we're outputting a variety of different variables. So these are the two leads that were created for Santiago. As you can see, we've got that predictive score, which is hot for both of them. And then you can see for one lead, it's a tier 1 hot. The other lead is for a tier 2 warm. So ideally, when we create that query for when we want to update the query to have that field in the data extension, we'll want to make that only one of Santiago's leads will have a value of tier, a super hot ranking. So maybe we'll start with that part of the enhancement, and then we'll come back to the deduping part. So what we want to do is build functionality to add in an additional field that will say, okay, for all leads, if the lead has a predictive score of hot and the account that it's associated with has also an ABM tier score of tier 1 hot, then we want a new field that says, super ranking, we'll call it, and we'll say that that's super hot. And then anything else, any other lead that doesn't have that combination, it'll not be hot. It'll just be, it could just call it warm. So the way we can do this is to use a case statement. And what I'm going to drop into the channel is Matthias Dabrowski has an incredible site. It's those who have been to his site. Where he's breaks down all of the functionality in SQL, like all of the major functionality. So Santiago, let's go to that. Let's open up a regular tab. We're going to go into this link in Matthias's site and learn a little bit about the case statement so that we can build. We're going to pull little different pieces of code from his site to tailor our use case, which is we want to basically, a case statement's basically like an if-then statement. We want to do like if, if lead predictive score equals hot and ABM tier score equals tier 1 hot, then set the field to hot, super hot. Otherwise, everything else, doesn't. So we'll go on. You want to create another tab, or we can use one of the tabs that you've got there. Let's leave this up, and the other, and maybe your second or third tab on your browser. Yeah. Let's URL to Matthias's site. Perfect. Excellent. All right. So this, again, if you haven't explored Matthias's site, it is so worth it. Bookmark it. As you can see on the left, he's got all of the major functions on the left that you can learn more drilled into. He also has a SQL basics section on the site, which is fantastic. Walks you through some basic use cases. Okay, so the case statement. So you can sort of see it. there it says, you know, when, so based on member type, right? Case, member type, when it is 1, then it's bronze. When it's 2, it's silver. So that's an example where it's just one, comparing one variable. Let's keep scrolling down and see if we can get another example of the case statement where it's comparing multiple variables. Keep scrolling. That's another variation. Let's scroll down a little bit further. There we go. There's one that has the when X and Y then. So let's copy that entire code, Santiago. Yep, including the comma. Well, actually, where you had it before, the comma and the case. Yep, oh, perfect. Let's copy that, and then let's paste that into, yeah, we'll just, perfect, right there is excellent, fantastic. So yeah, so case does follow that same logic where you need to have that, you know, the comma, you know, it still has that same functionality. So it's just like any other function. And then you can also see how Matthews has this indented, which can be helpful. So what we can do is we can delete line 8 because that is just a single example. So if we delete line 8, we don't need that line. Yeah. Perfect. And yep, all right, excellent. All right, so let's fill out line 8 now, which is going to be, instead of email opt-in, let's change that to L.predictive score. So if you want to copy that from line 5, you see that on line 5, yep. Perfect. And then we're going to replace that email opt-in, just the email opt-in part. Yep, yep, perfect. And then instead of 1, let's change that 1 to a single quote, and then hot with a capital H, H-O-T. Perfect. And then the and is going to be that a.avm tier underscore C that you're going to copy that from, yeah. And then we're going to paste that over email address. Great. And then we're going to want that to be equals tier 1 hot. Excellent. All right, and then we'll say that that's going to be, instead of email, we'll call that super hot. Okay, fantastic. All right, that's fantastic. That's looking good. Now let's go back to Matthias's doc because we need an example of an else. Something, there's syntax, I think, which is else. Yeah, it was your second tab. There we go. Okay, see that right above the code? So if you scroll up just a hair, you see where it's got that else unregistered in this code up above? Let's copy that else unregistered. Yep. Let's copy that. Let's bring that over to our, now you can replace line 9 with that else. Yep. Okay. And then let's just change that to, we could just say it's normal instead of hot. We'll just say it, or super hot. We'll just say it's normal. It's a normal lead. Perfect. And then for the end as, so that's the field name that you want to use. So let's just call this super rank instead of preferred channel. Cool. Let's hit run. Let's see what that does. Fingers crossed. Nice job, Santiago. So we should see for that one, the top lead should have, it should say super hot. And then the other lead should say normal. And a new field, oh, we actually didn't output the super rank. So let's do that. Let's go to, I think you would want to hit a return after super rank on line 10, because we need to output that field. So you can actually edit the, yep. And if you hit return right after that line, and then let's just backspace it over. Oh, it outputted it. Okay, I'm sorry. So that's what that case does. The as that, right, so that entire statement is basically saying, I want the super rank field to be created. So you don't need to output that. It's my mistake. So there we go. So there we're seeing like that first lead has meets those two requirements, and we're creating this new field called superhot, and then the bottom lead doesn't meet that requirement, and so it's normal. So there you go. There's different ways to use, the if-then statement. Like you don't really see if-thens in SQL, but that's how you can use the case statement to do that if-then logic. Any questions from anybody about this before we move on to our next enhancement? Okay. Santiago, I would encourage you to copy this query and just save it in like a notepad or something, because at any point we could lose this awesome work, and this is nicely done. Nice job.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so
Tim,
yes.
Join is the same that use inner join?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Basically what it's saying is that you've got these two circles, right, of data. You only want to, you're inner joining, which means that you only want to include that data that is in the inner part of both of those circles, right? They have to only qualify in both of them. Now we're going to be using a left join in our next assignment, which is to use as a dedupe. So anyways, you can choose to use inner join however you want. It depends on your use case. If you're using a lot of outer joins, it might be helpful to have that detail that this is an inner join, but they are, in fact, if you want to try typing in on line 13, try typing in inner join. I think it's inner space join, and it should have the same result. Yeah. So we'll leave that for now. Okay, so the next part of this assignment is that we know we're going to feed these leads into a journey. And now that we've got this super hot ranking, fantastic. It's going to really help with our different paths in the journey itself. Now what we want to do is build in the logic that prevents us to send this same person in again, right? We only want to send them through this once. And so there might be a chance that how do we prevent this lead going into the journey a second time? Now, if you know Journey Builder, there is capability within Journey to prevent that in the journey settings. You can absolutely do that. Sometimes you can say, only, no reentry, I think is the setting in Journey. But sometimes you want to have the journey to be open, but you still need the queries to help prevent that. So we're going to use another type of join to help facilitate this. But the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a data extension and this query so that we can populate and simulate a data extension that includes one of these leads so that we can test and validate it. So Santiago, I think in your third tab, let's take that third tab and bring it over. And we're going to click in there. Okay, fantastic. Let's go into Email Studio. We're going to create a data extension that we're going to use to run this query for real and populate real data in that data extension that you've built. And then we're going to use this to dedupe in the query itself. Fantastic. So we're going to go to subscribers. Yep, we're going to go to data extensions. And we're going to open up that little plus sign to the left of that data extension folder. So if you scroll, see that little plus sign just to the left of that folder? Yep, perfect. If you hit that plus sign, it should open up the folder There you go. And then if you do the same for hands-on, see that hands-on folder? Yep, if you hit that plus sign on that as well. So over there on the left, if you hit that plus sign, that should open up. See the plus sign just to the left of that hands-on? In that folder, there's a little plus sign. So right where you've got, if you put your cursor right on hands-on, there's a little plus sign to the left of that folder. Sort of see. So if you put your cursor, yep, there you go. And then right to the left of that, there, it's that plus sign. Perfect. There you go. Now there's an auto bootcamp folder. Yep, perfect. We'll click that. Fantastic. Now let's hit the create button on the upper right-hand corner. We're going to create a date extension. We're going to use a standard date extension. We'll call this lead nurture journey. Love the underscores. Fantastic. We're going to make this sendable. We typically would create a description here, but we're just going to move forward on this. We'll hit next. And we'll hit next. All right, now we need to fill in the fields that you had created in your query. So let's go back to your query. We're going to go to the select statement, grab the first field. Yep, and I think I've saved that as a subscriber key. So if we go back to the query, yep, let's copy that. It's perfect. That'll be the first field. Yep, and we can make that a primary. Yep, we'll make that the primary key. Fantastic. And next one's email. Perfect. And we'll make that an email. Yep, exactly. Yep. And first name. Yep. And the predictive score. Yep. And ABM tier C. And super rank. Fantastic. Cool. Let's also add a created date.
Is it correct to use text for all of them?
Yeah, those all look good. They're all sort of within 50. Should be fine there. And just to be safe, let's make, well, we won't make email nullable, but we'll make everything else nullable. That's fine. Yeah, we can. Yeah, so let's make email not nullable, and we'll make everything else nullable. Just because email is required. And then let's add a created date as a new field under super rank, just so that we can capture the date of when this was populated. So yeah.
Date?
Created date. That's fine. And then we're going to select that as a date field. Yeah. And then if you hit the little minus sign just to the left of the default value, see there? Yep, right there. Perfect. If you just hit that little minus sign right to the left where you are, yep, perfect. And then let's make that nullable. We'll make that field nullable. Yeah. So that created date, for those who know, that just creates the date of when those records get populated there. Yep, and fantastic, Santiago. We're going to use the subscriber key as the relationship to subscribers. So when we actually send this email in all subscribers, it's using the lead ID, not the email address. Fantastic. So hit create. Okay, excellent. And now that we've got this date extension, we're going to create a query to populate it. So let's go into the blue cloud in the upper left-hand corner. And we're going to go to, so yeah, if you go back to that blue cloud, or yeah, we can use that tab if you want. That's fantastic. Yeah, let's go into Journey Builder. The icon, yeah, right there. And then Automation Studio.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, you kind of wish Automation Studio had its own icon. Okay. Now over there on the left, there should be a hands-on folder in the folder tree. If you can open up that little caret to the left of it, let's just see what's in there. So if you open up, there should be a little arrow to the left. It'll open up that folder right to the left of hands-on, where you just were. Yeah, if you just open up, there you go, perfect. And then if you click on Auto Studio, yep, perfect. Okay, excellent. Let's create a new automation. And we're going to name this Lead Nurture Journey. Okay, great. Hit done. Let's hit save in the upper right-hand corner, just so we have that saved. Very good. And then we're going to use a schedule starting source. So you can just drop that. We won't configure it right now. We actually won't need to configure it. And then let's bring over into the canvas the SQL query icon activity. There we go. Perfect. And then let's try that one more time. Sometimes it doesn't listen. Let's try that one more time. Sometimes it just doesn't. Why is that not working? That's interesting. Let's just try hitting refresh. Maybe it just needs it. Sometimes it can be a little picky. Let's try.
Okay.
There we go. I don't know why Marketing Cloud is fighting you. Okay, yeah, let's hit choose. And I think we're going to create a new query. So in that SQL query window, yeah, we can hit select choose. And yep, so we'll create a new query. We'll call this Lead Nurture Journey. Okay, and then the one thing that we're going to want to do before we run this, let's go back to your query. And yep, so yeah, we'll go, perfect. And what we want to do is we're just going to sort of replicate the scenario. Let's say that your warm lead went through the journey, right? So we only want to send through, populate in the state extension, your warm lead. So let's hit return where you are on the where clause. You want to stay in the query, yeah. And let's just hit return where you're going to add a new line on the where clause. So if you just hit return there, it'll add a new line.
Here.
So that's, yeah, so if you go to the where on the where clause, the line 15, at the very end of that on line 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then hit return. Okay, fantastic. Now we're going to do an and, all caps. Perfect. And then let's copy the L.ID from line 2. Perfect. We're going to paste that after that and. And then we're going to do an equals and a single quote. And let's copy that. Yep, that whichever one you want to copy is fine. Yep, perfect. Yep, and let's hit run on that. That should only output just that one record. This can be handy to use whenever you're doing testing. And then while we're waiting for this, let's copy this query. There we go. It's just one record. Fantastic. Let's copy this query, or you can just copy that bottom line. Yeah, the whole query is fine. And we'll go paste that in. Yep. Perfect. Let's hit validate syntax. Perfect. And then we'll hit next. And just for right now, we're going to use the overwrite button down below. Bottom. That might be different depending on your use case. And then we're going to navigate to that date extension. So if we scroll, I think you need to scroll down to hands-on. So I think you need to scroll up just a bit. You scroll up a little bit further. A little bit further. There's the hands-on. So open that up. So if you click on the arrow to the left of the hands-on, so we need to open up the folder. Yep, there you go. Yep, and then auto bootcamp is where, yep. And then I think it was the lead nurture journey. There we go. Perfect. And we'll hit next. And we'll hit finish. And let's hit save. And now we'll do the run once. We'll select all, yep, perfect. We'll hit run. And we'll run. We'll go back to the activity. Yep. And then there's a little refresh button in the upper right-hand corner, right underneath save. Yeah, if that works. Sometimes it takes a second for it to run. So once this data is populated in that data extension, we're basically going to suppress it in our query. So we're going to add this data extension to the query, and we're going to say, hey, we want to only output those people that are not in this data extension, that have not gone through the journey. And we're going to use a different join for that. It looks good. Let's go to your data extension. Let's see if that record got populated. Sometimes Marketing Cloud takes a little bit longer than we want.
Yeah.
And let's go take a look at the record, see what it looks like. Excellent. Looks like what we were expecting, so it's fantastic. All right, so now let's copy the name of this journey, excuse me, this name of this data extension. So lead nurt underscore journey, let's copy that. You might have to copy it again. Sometimes it only allows you to copy it when it does, yep. Okay, let's go back to our query. And we're gonna do, we're gonna add another line after line 13. So you could hit return where you are. Perfect.
Here?
Now let's paste in that. Yep, let's paste in that date extension. Okay, fantastic. All right, now we need to figure out what type of, how we're gonna do this syntax. We basically wanna say, we wanna suppress anybody who is in this date extension. So Santiago, I included a cheat sheet link on this. So if you copy that, what I just dropped in the chat, let's open up another tab. And we're gonna take you to this cheat sheet to show you this graph of the different joins that we're gonna wanna choose from. So if you use one of your browser tabs and paste in that link, we can navigate to that visual. Oops, I think we just lost Santiago. Let me share my screen. So while we wait for him to come back, we can take a look at what different options we might need. Let's see here. Okay, let me share my screen. Oh, he's back.
Sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if you copy that link in a different browser tab, we can just take a look at the cheat sheet.
Could you send again, please?
Oh, the link? Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, great. Now, if you scroll down, there's a chart of, yep, there we go. Scroll down a little bit further. There's that SQL joins, yeah. And if you zoom in just a little bit, this will give us an idea of what we're looking to do in the syntax that we're looking to consider. So yeah, if you go to the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, maybe you could zoom in to maybe 125. Just to zoom in just a bit. Okay, well, actually, we're probably okay with where you've got it. Okay, so here's our scenario. We've got this data set of leads and accounts, right? And they've all qualified to be entered in this journey. But what we also want to do is to take this other file, this other data extension that we know might have people that are in that journey. And what we want to do is we want to, if they're in data extension B, we want to take them out of data extension A and only send through data extension A where they're not in data extension B. So which combination of circles is the option that we want to go with for this solution? Where we want to bring in, yep, that's the one, exactly. We want to bring in all of A except for if it is also in B. Fantastic. So you can sort of see the syntax on that. First thing is that it's left join. So let's go back to your query, Studio query, and we're going to left join that data extension. Instead of an inner join, this is going to be a left join. Perfect. And now let's call this lead nurture journey, and we're going to do an as and then an L. just so that we can label this. So, sorry, not L. We'll call it a J. Perfect. And then we're going to use an on statement. We need to use that to join to the lead. Yep. And then we're going to do it on L.id and J.subscriber key. So J would be J subscriber key. Yep. J subscriber key equals L.id. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Is the same to put in first plate or in the second plate, those?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think it matters when you're trying to make that relationship. That's a great question. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I've used it either way. I typically like to do like the L.id first equals, but I don't think it really matters. Great question though. Okay, that's the first part. We got the lead, we got the left join. Let's go back to the chart because there's some more information there that we need to help us to fill this out. Okay. And that has to do with the where clause. So in that where clause, it says where the B key is null, meaning that we don't want that where it's not present in A. So let's go back to the query and let's scroll down on that where clause. Now, first you can remove that and the L.id. So that's just, yep, exactly. So you want to replace the J.subscriber key with the L.id. Yeah. And you can delete the L.id part because we no longer need that. Yep.
This one?
Perfect. Yep, you can delete that. And then this you want as is all caps. We're actually not going to use the equal sign. We're going to use an all caps is null.
Oh, sorry. It's null.
Yep, and then null. Perfect. Okay. So now when we run this, we know that Santiago hot is in this date extension. So now when we run this, we should only see Santiago warm. So let's run this query, fingers crossed that that's right. And that should dedupe Santiago hot from this list using that left join logic. There we go, Santiago warm, right? So that's a really handy way to use, that left join whenever if you need to dedupe and prevent other people from entering in a query, whether it's a journey, whether it's a different query, different data extension altogether. That's a handy way of using that left join functionality. It's two parts, right? It's the left join saying that I want to take everything to the left, right? That half moon in the red in A. And then the equally important part is that subscriber key for B, or in this case J, has to be null, right? It's when that is not there. So that's so we completed that first part. We added in that case statement, created that super hot field or the super rank field and populated that correctly. We also deduped in that additional people that are in the journey itself. Any questions on those two that functionality from anyone on the call? Okay, well, Santiago, amazing job. Save this query, it's definitely good to use as a guide whenever you're doing that left join. Definitely dig into Matheus's documentation. It is fantastic. He is an incredible resource for SQL and other things, AMP script as well, and other logic. And in our next hands-on session, we might either build out scenario number 2 here, or we might do import and export. I'll have it prepared either way, and it'll sort of be dealer's choice. on that, on how we want to do that. But any questions from anybody on what we've got, what we built here today? Nice job, Santiago, with building this. Nicely done. Yeah.
So we need to have together inner join and left join because we need to be sure we got this user, right?
Correct. I mean, in this example, like in that screen, the A is not just one data extension. The A is both lead and account, right? That is becoming its own data extension. We're doing an inner join. We're creating that as a database. And then the lead nurture journey is the B part. But yeah, it's not just one data extension, it's both. And that's what that inner join does. It basically pulls them both together.
Great.
Okay. Well, excellent. Thank you, Santiago. Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow if you're interested in the contact data model for Automation Studio, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.